This quick video can in a way be considered a public service announcement. I see plenty of people building Breastplate of Valor really early into the game on supports. We will be talking about why this may not be the best decision. For the sake of comparison, I have used Sovereignty, Breastplate of Valor, and Midgardian Mail. Both Sovereignty and Midgardian Mail have a certain amount of health on them. Breastplate of Valor only has physical defense. It has more physical defense than both of those items, but it's not as much of a defense item as it sounds like in theory. Without going too deep into this topic, we need to understand what effective health means first. Effective health is combined by two factors: your health and your defense stat against a specific kind of damage. If you were to get a ton of magical defense but no extra health, you would have a ton of effective magical health, but you wouldn't have any more physical effective health than before. Same goes for Breastplate of Valor, just the other way around. You get a decent amount of defense against physical damage, giving you a fair amount of physical effective health, but it doesn't give you any magical effective health at all. All Guardians have base defenses. So if you get a health item, you already have a higher effective health against any kind of damage except for true damage than the number of health you actually have would indicate. Especially with how potent defenses are early on, this means quite a lot. For example, if you have 1650 health and you have 39 magical protection, you actually have 2293 magical effective health. So it would take nearly 2300 damage to kill you, despite of you only having 1650 health. This effect can be negated to some extent by penetration. However, health will still be health and will still be effective against all kinds of damage. And this is the inherent problem with Breastplate of Valor. Different from Sovereignty and Midgardian Mail, it has, as mentioned, no health at all. It gives you physical defense, which helps you against the enemy hunter. More often than not, you will be facing a Guardian in your own lane though. And more often than not, you will be rotating out of your lane by the time that you can finish Breastplate of Valor, meaning you will face magical damage dealers in mid lane or maybe even jungle or solo. I guess you can already see the inherent problem here. You have no extra defense against those characters. Looking at the tables here and comparing the three, your magical effective health with Sovereignty is roughly 2600, with Midgardian Mail is nearly 2800, whereas with Breastplate of Valor it's only 2300. I typically would recommend against rushing Midgardian Mail early on, unless you're against a heavy basic attack comp. However, I felt like placing it in here as well, simply because it has more health than the others, so it could showcase that a little more drastically. Let's take a closer look at Sovereignty and Breastplate of Valor. The items are placed on a Ymir, and I've matched him against a Ram with Golden Bow and Warrior Tabi. And as you can see, the DPS difference coming from the Ram is relatively low. It's less than 10 DPS difference. Still, due to the fact that it has more health, Sovereignty gives you more physical effective health than Breastplate of Valor. This is not the most important part though. Compare the magical effective health. Those numbers speak for themselves. On top of that, Sovereignty gives you HP 5, meaning you heal up in between, and it gives your teammates HP 5 and physical defense as well. The only reasons for getting Breastplate of Valor are actually mana and cooldown reduction. Don't get me wrong, cooldown reduction is great, I love that stat. But should it be the first thing you're getting when you can get extra defenses for your team that may lead to you not requiring the extra CDR? Probably not. You're sacrificing HP 5 and defenses for your team and magical effective health for yourself. Typically, this will not help you very much. There are exceptions. Characters like Sobek can make very good use of cooldown reduction in order to heal up more, or other characters like Capri just want the CDR because they're not really frontlining as much, not taking as much damage, instead using their abilities to help the team more. But the majority of Guardians usually wants to frontline at some point of the game. And for frontlining, you need health. Every other item built afterwards also benefits from the additional health that you have on this item. As a bonus, it also helps a lot more against true damage, though there are not too many sources of true damage in the game. So what does this mean in conclusion? Should you never build Breastplate of Valor? No. But when should you build it? only when you're terribly ahead. If you're behind or even with the enemies, as long as you have to frontline, you want health. If you're terribly ahead, you can go violent onto the enemy, you can try to kill them as often as possible, then you want the CDR. If you got 3 kills early on and your team is generally in a lead, go for Breastplate of Valor and just stomp them before they can even come back from that. But don't build Breastplate of Valor when you're behind and already struggling to keep up in your own lane or in the mid lane. On solo laners, this is a completely different matter because you're usually just facing the enemy solo laner early, where physical defense just gets the job done in most cases. Also, solo laners frontline less early on, and they make better use of cooldown reduction by playing aggressive and using their abilities more. Just for clarification, you shouldn't be building Sovereignty every game. Hide of the Urchin can be very good as well. I just wanted to use this example of an item as another physical defense item that fulfills a similar purpose. Guardian builds should not be limited to Sovereignty or Breastplate of Valor or Mid-Guardian Mail early on. There are plenty of options. I hope this clears up a little bit of the confusion about Breastplate of Valor as an early game support item. Thank you guys for watching. Duke Sloth, out.